I'm Rendan, and this is Space Jam 2.
Welcome, King James.
I'm a cartoon?
Space Jam 2 is like a virus. It's spreading its evil across the world as we speak, and there is nothing that we can do to stop it. It's an ugly, horrific movie with hardly any, if any, redeeming qualities. There, I think, is one scene and one character in this I liked, and aside from that, everything is a different synonym of horrible. You could say any element of the movie, and I would have a different word to describe how horrible it was. Let's try it, actually. Cinematography, terrible. Acting, horrendous. Story, agonizing. Character development, piss poor. We could go on, but I think you get the point. Everything this movie does is embarrassing. It is terrible. In fact, the first 25 minutes may be the most horrific first act of a movie I've ever seen. And that's not hyperbole. That's just real. It's just terrible. The main story is about LeBron King James, whose son is drifting away from him. Never heard this story before. Because he doesn't want to be a basketball player. He wants to be a game designer. He designed a game that's basketball. Like NBA Jam. Except exactly like NBA Jam. He just ripped off NBA Jam. So he's trying to be a good dad. He's trying to be a coach, a life coach. And then him and Don get sucked into the Emoji Movie. Except this time, it's with Warner Brother products. And then they have to assemble a crack team of Looney Tunes to fight real NBA players in Dom's game, where LeBron will learn to respect his son and let him do what he wants. It's a beautiful story of fatherhood, father-son, friendship, a little romance.
What'd you do to my son?
The only way you're getting your son back is if you and I play a little basketball.
You want to play me in basketball?
There's an algorithm at Warner Brothers who says, you know what? I want King James to be a part of Warner Brothers movies. This is real, by the way. And then that will mean that people will know how cool I am, algorithm, and then life will be good. That's his main plot. There's a hair in my mouth. Ew. Now, all of this is stuffed with Warner Brothers references, which is disgusting and appalling. I couldn't believe how many times this movie references the studio that's making it. It was actually shocking. They go to the Warner Brothers backlot, they go to the Warner Brothers servers, they go to the Warner Brothers meeting room. Warner Brothers name, logo is mentioned or shown to a absolutely revolting degree in this movie, which was only one of the embarrassing elements of it. The first act really cements how terrible everything is. The cinematography is possibly the most bland, flat cinematography since Attack of the Clones. The acting is probably the worst I've seen in a major motion picture this year, aside from John Cheadle, who is terrible, but he is just having fun. He's chewing the scenery, he's going crazy, he's kind of fun because he knows he's in a bad movie. But then there's the dialogue, which is, the worst.
You gotta win this game and get our son back.
Just the worst. Every line of dialogue is awful.
We rapping? Show 'em who you really are, notorious P.I.G.
When they get into the Warner Brothers serververse, the Emoji Movie part of the movie, there's just an elongated montage of them trying to get Looney Tunes out of other movies, Warner Brothers movies, which is sickening, but it's the most fun the movie is. There's one scene where they go to Mad Max Fury Road world, and that scene made me laugh hysterically because of how shameless it was. But then eventually the Tunes get together and they play this basketball game, which literally takes up 45 minutes of the runtime. This movie has a horrific pacing issue and structure. It doesn't really know what structure is, I don't think, because literally this basketball game takes up a lot of time, and it's hardly ever interesting. You have NBA players going against the Toons, and LeBron is set in his ways. He wants to play basketball, but it's NBA Jam. It's not basketball. You can get 1,000 points. You can get 300 points from doing a cool dunk, and LeBron doesn't get it. LeBron wants to do his isolation, post-up moves, fadeaways that he does in all of his games, which makes his game actually pretty boring to watch in real life. But in this, it's even worse, because it's not basketball, per se. It's video game, so he's got to play by the video game's rules, which means he has to learn to let the Toons be Toons. He wants to force them to be NBA players, but he should know that they're not. They're Toons. So if the Toons will just be Toons, and they could win. And then he realizes this, and he realizes that his son should also be a Toon and do what he wants. So they win the basketball game, and then the movie ends. There's really nothing good to say about it. There's actually so little that happens in this movie, it's hard to talk about. There's so little it's trying to do. It's shocking. It's literally references in the first half and a basketball game in the second half. And that's really the extent of the story. It's shockingly sparse, but it's also littered with embarrassing jokes, terrible cameos, and references to Warner Brothers products. But I will say the best thing that came out of this movie is the fact that now we know for sure that Warner Brothers has an algorithm that makes their movies. That was a speculation of mine for a while, but now that's confirmed, which is a good thing. But we should talk about the algorithm, I suppose, which is played by Don Cheadle. What does he want? I don't know. He is the villain of this movie. He wants to trap LeBron in the Emoji Movie world and delete the Toons, and then that will make people respect him. I think that's his plan. He wants power of something, but he's like the leader of this Emoji Movie world. I really don't know what he wants. It's possibly the worst villain they could have come up with. There's absolutely nothing interesting about him at all. He has no motivation, he has no clarity to his character, he's just terrible. But that's the problem with all the characters. There's hardly any motivation to anything that's going on. I mean, the literal only thing that this movie has is Dom and LeBron being a little bit separated because their ideologies don't quite line up, but then they do at the end. That's it. That's all this movie has going for it. It's shocking. Just terrible. And the visual effects, I think, will be dated in a couple of years. Like, not that long. It's too visual effects heavy. There's almost every scene in the second half is a visual effect to some degree. The only thing that will hold up is the Toons when they are Toons, but then they get rendered in 3D for absolutely no reason. It looks okay now, but it won't later. Probably give this a 2. Simply because Don Cheadle was having fun and that Mad Max scene made me laugh until I had tears in my eyes. So, yeah, it's terrible. It's just the worst. If you want to watch it, you're inviting a parasite into your body, so that's up to you.